Speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869 669 7312. That's 869 669 7312 or 917 460 2187. That's 917 460 2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869 669 7312. That's 869 669 7312 or 917 460 2187. That's 917 460 2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020 Vision Radio or its advertisers.
Let us put our hands together for Papa Wheeler!
Shout for me, boy. I want them to roar for me, boy. If you don't know, I want in you, but I bang them.
They go ball foul.
Talk about
irregularities,
boy. They go be up and down balling. No pretend no pay come in, boy. Heading south.
Bringing in his Indians
from the north,
mi amiga and amigos,
como esta bienvenida, la Nevis fiesta.
Bring them to shout for me.
I want them to roar for me, boy.
I go be mashing down the complex.
Yes,
If they
don't call me king, boy. The doctor placing the campus suicide bomber, boy.
bringing them to shout for me.
I want them to roar for me.
Anything you want, you go get, boy. I'm mixing up the soca
with some
Hindi and some rumba.
chutney and lavandera.
ID no
Necessary, boy. We got lips of mercenary.
bringing them to shout for me.
I want them to roar for me. Maintain Genial impulso, todo zombie en vida. Take it away.
Local fans decreasing.
Why? By the numbers they keep dropping.
Nobody don't shout.
Shout no more. Like they used to shout before.
Boy, disgruntled fans they crumbling about promised songs. Fail on delivering. Boy, start song and can't finish it.
In standard English, singing stupidness, nonsense.
Why don't you sing a song and help again?
Tell me what happened to the fair share? When the money disappear,
Oh yeah, boy.
Stuart, if in question here,
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll, roll for me.
I'm gonna be rocking down the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do me like the doctor, placing their campus suicide bomber.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me.
I'm gonna be mashing up the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, boy, I do me like the doctor, placing their campus suicide bomber.
Boy, bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me.
Anything you want, you go get. Boy, I'm mixing up the soca.
With some Hindi and some rumba, chutney and lavandera.
I didn't know necessary.
Boy, we calypso mercenary.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roll for me. Maintain el impulso, todo zombie en vida.
Boy,
Take it away.
I'm gonna be chartering airlines.
See preacher, see taxi. Bringing them to shout for me. I want them to roar for me. You don't know.
You got to spend big money.
If you wanna win monarchy,
I go got the diaspora.
420 in my corner, boy. Share the life, boy.
Press like, subscribe, sharing.
All here the diaspora's king.
Your king gonna be knocking down your airport.
Knocking down, broken down us.
Hospital walls.
Training geothermal.
Let the Jewish people sing the song. These Hebrew boys don't understand. Begging them to shout for me.
I want to roar for me.
Rocking down the complex.
Yes, if they don't throw me king, do it like the doctor, president, campus, suicide bomber.
Bringing them to shout for me.
I wanted to roar for me.
Anything you want, you will get.
Yes,
I'm mixing up the soca
with some
Hindi and some rumba. chutney a la bandera. ID no necessary. Please calypso mercenary. Boy, bring it to the show for me. I want it raw for me. Prendete il polso. Todo so bien mira. Kick the momentum. Everybody is welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of On Target. And as usual, on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and in studio with me is the man himself, the governor, the mayor, the chief, the honcho of Hamilton Estate, the man himself, Tulu Weeks, is in the house. He can pick any one of those names you want, but he must pick one.
Citizen.
And if not one, if
Residence.
you don't pick one will be assigned to him. So it's up to him which one he wanted to pick out of all
Residence.
that. You want president?
Residence.
Resident. No,
Residence
you
of
can't.
Hamilton.
You can only pick what I give you. From the bucket I gave you, you can only pick one. So get used to it. I'm a dictator when it comes to that. So live with it. Good afternoon to every one of you who have decided to spend your Saturday afternoon with us, at least part of it. And if you're in the UK, Canada, America, USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John's, and down, of course, to our neighbors in the north, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Bart, Stacia, all those wonderful people down there, good afternoon to you. If you're on St. Kitts, of course, our sister island, good afternoon to you. And of course, my good buddies over there in St. James, Max in Westbury, you have Bose and Gary and Turkey up there in St. James. Good afternoon to each and every one of you. And if you're on FM Dial, Twitch, YouTube, of course, on the Facebook feed, welcome. Let me first pay special homage to the 5 podium makers today. Repeating. I don't know what's happening to LCQ down there in Florida. I don't know if she got married or have somebody special and keeps her in bed past 1 o'clock. I don't know. But first on the board again, like he did last week, the man KK, Kitchen King out there in Oklahoma. He is first Judy Cornelius Webb up there in Judy Cornelius Webb Estate. Number 2. Number 3, my queen over there in St. Thomas. Cecile Hobson is in the house. And my good buddy Burl Jones is in the house at number 4. And the best tomato grower on Nevis by far, Tamaki Saladid up there in Fountain. He runs out number 5. And close behind, my good friend Gigi Williams Keat out there from St. James. And Ivor Henry, boom, on target. He's up there in Georgia. Good afternoon to you, Ivor. Dion Flanders. I think she's off today because she would not normally allow herself to listen if she's working. Make sure she gives patient care and all that good stuff. So she is number somewhere down in the bottom. Miller Lawrence, back in the top 10. IDF, Ingrid Daniel Farrell, she's with us. How are you, my dear? And we have August Washington. You ever had August in Washington? You ever spent August in Washington?
Never been in Washington.
You never been in Washington? It's hot as hell.
I don't want to have anything to do with hell.
My number 1 fan on St. Kitts, Doll Penny is in the house, and so is my good friend down there in St. Thomas. Jessica Neety Lewis is with us. Iona Muchacha Door over there in Bath Village, she's with us, and so is Similata Ovaltine Jeffers. She was at the gala, and I eased up and I kissed her on the top of her head, and she smiled at me. I think she loves me. You think?
I think she loves good people.
You always got a bandage. Oh, Jetzel Barton. Your friend is late as usual. Good afternoon to you. And who else we have? Oral Joseph and Gemini Nisbet. I'm sure Gemini is cold right now because she's still in Canada. Oh my goodness. And then we have Desmond Claxton and Sharon Stapleton. I met Sharon. She was here. She took me to meet some family of mine. A gracious lady, Sharon is. So I think she's back in Boston by now. So good afternoon, Sharon. Hope you made it back in one piece. Obviously, because you're on the show. Norma Jean down there in St. Martin. Good afternoon to you. Hildred Davis up there in Montserrat Village. And we have Elvis, Leslie, Earl, Mascall, and Ruthlyn Hill. Ruthlyn Hill. I mean, wonderful people. Lynette Farrell from up there, Church Ground. And we have Jam Forbes and Annette Morton. Florence Byron, Laniqua Dyer, and Margaret Herbert Faison is in the house. And who else we have? We have Gina Tyson. Oh, man. Gina is such a queen, Oh, Charles is a lucky man. You know that? He's blessed.
He's a blessed man.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Gina is very blessed.
Jam Forbes sent a message here. She's never told me this in my life. And she says, Tulu looks rather handsome today. What is going on here? What's going on, Tulu? There's a call coming. Let's take this call here. There's a call coming in. Let me see who this is. Good afternoon. You're on target.
Good afternoon, Dr. Daly. How are you?
I am well. I was wondering what happened to you.
I'm good. I had a little surgery in my mouth.
Oh, Lord. You mean you clean it up?
But I'm listening on YouTube now. So I could do other stuff.
So you're not talking all this bad word. So it's a surgery to correct all the bad word come out your mouth.
No, not really.
I will call
you more.
Tulu is not smiling. Tulu is not
so, but I am listening on YouTube now.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm listening to all the shows, tell me everything on YouTube. So I could have more room to do stuff on my phone instead of sticking on Facebook.
Okay, wonderful. I will call you later, check on you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, cool. Bye. All right. So that was, of course, our good friend LCQ. Let us know that she's okay, even though she's not on the Facebook, but she's okay. All right. Margaret Faison is saying she's listening in Georgia, and she's wishing everybody good afternoon. Okay. All right. And Laniqua Dyer is saying, yes, Laniqua, I did get your wonderful greeting from Tulu. The first thing he came in the studio, he didn't say good afternoon to me. He said, Laniqua, to tell you hello, and I hope you're doing well.
Special delivery.
Special delivery.
From a special person.
I feel blessed to have such good people. All right, we got a lot to talk about as usual, so stay tuned. Tulu, any opening words you have for the wonderful people out there?
All I'm saying to you, the pot is already cooked. Start sharing.
Start sharing. All right, we're going to start this year. But we got some notices to start off the program. First off, I remind you that the NRP St. Paul's branch will be having a new to you sale on the 31st of this month, January. Right at the usual spot just outside the old customs building in Charlestown. Wonderful stuff at very ridiculous prices. And again, I appeal to those persons who may have some stuff, not junk, not garbage, not old crappy stuff, good stuff that somebody can appreciate. All right. So if you have those, knock us up, and we're glad to get it from you and put it on sale. Raise some money for our candidate in St. Paul's, and of course for the national executive of the NRP. Good people all around. Thank you in advance for your patronage and of course for your support. All right. So, and then the St. George's constituency branch will be repeating, what do you call that? A two-peat. They'll be repeating their Valentine boat ride, and this will be on the 15th of February, so one day after Valentine. You can get tickets, they're available for this cruise. The cruise leaves Charlestown at 5 p.m. All right, sailing at 5 p.m. So be there at 5 p.m. Be there before 5 p.m. to get onto the boat, and you have a wonderful entertainment on board. Odyssey Band will be, rocking your soul, and so is Wreck Life Movement, the DJ. All right, so it's only $150 if you're single, and if you're double, it's only $275. All right, so make sure you give the people up there, the Gingerland constituency branch, all of your support in making sure you get a wonderful Valentine's on this special day, the 15th. All right, good. That is for the notices. All right. I wish also to extend, on behalf of 2020 Vision Radio, and of course on the crew here on Target, condolences to all those who are mourning the loss of loved ones. And we had, this morning, we attended the funeral for our brother, Mr. Pinney. And it was a wonderful send-off, fantastic. The church was packed. I mean, when you get to the age of 88 and you can still attract a full church, it tells you you have done good service to the community.
Correct.
Good service to the people of Davis. And it was a pleasure for me to be there. It's a sad occasion, but it was a wonderful homegoing service. I couldn't stay to the very end like Tulu did, but from the eulogy by Carlisle and the singing, the dance, the pan, the groups that he was participating in, Men in Action of the Methodist Church, it was wonderful. So wherever he is, I'm certain he's smiling down and saying thank you guys for such a wonderful, but thank you, Mr. Pinney, for making your life such a wonderful thing to be around you. And all the best for your wife and of course your children and other relatives. We also mourning the loss of another sister, Phyllis Grant, from there in Craddock Road. I mean, she was just a wonderful person. And if you know her children, we Killer, everybody knows Killer. He works at customs, and Pants was my barber for a long time, and then his sister Jackie. Beautiful people,
Des.
Wonderful people. Des, of course. And so, I secretly had a crush on Des and Jackie, When I first came back to Nevis in 1990, I used to go to Pants to cut my hair, and she, oh my goodness.
Lots of person had a crush on her.
I told her so a few years ago, and she's like, what?
Yeah.
Jackie, my deepest sympathies to you and the rest of your family. Des, everybody knows Des, and she works there. She started at Evelyn Drugstore, and now she's with the other pharmacy, and so beautiful people. And then of course we just learned of the passing of Jabas. What can you say? Good people are just going on, and of course we had lost Sterling Marshall early in the week. It's just one episode of sadness after the next.
And one of our faithful servant, a police officer.
Yes.
To pass.
Yes. All right. So enough of the sadness. It's time for a little bit of movement otherwise. The SSD update. I got a phone call from a friend of mine on St. Kitts yesterday. Very good friend of mine. Who works in the government, of course. And he says to me, there's every indication that Dr. Drew now has in his possession a signed copy of the development agreement for Destiny. I normally don't say things that I cannot prove or have documentation of. But this is a reliable source. And that person said to me exactly that. He has it on the highest authority that Dr. Drew now has in his possession. Because you remember he said he did not have a hard copy of anything regarding Destiny. That he had a hard copy, signed copy of the agreement. Now, my concern is this: if the Premier has signed it and given up a copy to the Prime Minister for him to peruse in advance of his advisory committee sitting Fine, I have no difficulty with that. But the step is, after you've signed in cabinet, that document is now to proceed to the parliament for full discussion and ratification, and then on to sink it to the federal parliament, federal cabinet and parliament for ratification. So I would hope that the Premier at his press conference coming up later this month, I think it's the 27th, I understand, or something thereabouts, I hope he does disclose whether this is true or not, whether he has signed or not. Because we in the population of St. Kitts and Nevis are waiting for that occurrence, because that will trigger the court action, the judicial review on that matter. So I do hope the Premier has the cojones to come to the people and said, yes, I have signed, and yes, I've given a copy to the Prime Minister. But we are still having to go through the Parliament for ratification. I hope he's honest enough to deny or to confirm this is actually what has happened. All right?
So when the Premier announced in his New Year's message that he recognized that there is a great outcry in the community against this SSC, but he will not relent, it seems to me that he would have already signed. As a matter of fact, since December, I think was All Year's Day, I was at Value Mart doing some business, and someone engaged me in a conversation about it, and he said to me, is he signed already? I told him, no, I don't believe so. He said, it is signed already. And so to hear now that the Prime Minister has a hard copy, we'll wait and see. It shows you the level of disrespect, one, that the Premier has for the people of Nevis, that he has already developed this mindset that I am a demigod, that I do not need to hear from the people. Well, he told us that the 27th of November, that our voices ended when we voted. And so he has shown absolutely no regard for the feelings, the cries, and the wishes of the people who elect him. And he forgot that he is there to serve us, not to micromanage us. And so I'm disappointed to hear that it was signed. Still, I'm not surprised.
Well, I'm still waiting for absolute confirmation. So I'm giving you this as a reminder that this SSE is still alive and well. Persons have been asking what has been going on, because it's been awfully quiet, both from the Destiny side as well as from the government side and the public side. Things have gone quiet. And so I just felt it was important enough of information to share with you. And again, once I get full confirmation, then I will also share that with you. All right? But as it stands, we are hearing from high up that the document has been signed, and Dr. Jude now has a copy of that document. What is very disturbing is that I thought it would have made more sense, gentlemen, to allow the Prime Minister to seat his advisory council, see what recommendations come out of that, and then adjust the SSZ, which would then inform the agreement in better terms. You'd have heard the Premier repeat several times that the government will move to have certain aspects of that SSZ nullified. One, to prevent persons from voting. Two, to prevent them from owning land outside of the zone. As far as I know, there hasn't been any amendments to the existing legislation to show that. And secondly, there hasn't been any bills put before Parliament to adjust or amend the Constitution to reflect those things the Premier said were causing some anxiety in the population of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I find it kind of presumptuous that he will go ahead and proceed to sign in the face of all of what Tula just said, the pushback from general society on this development agreement. We have not seen it, nobody has seen it, nobody knows the details of it. But this is where the tire hits the road. That agreement. That is what will bind the people of Nevis to destiny. If that is the case, if he has signed, he needs to inform the people of Nevis who elected him that yes, he has signed it, and yes, he has sent a copy to Dr. Drew on St. Kitts. Every indication, all his language from since December is pointing us in the direction that he intends to sign. The deadline of December 31st has passed. He has not proclaimed any signature. We are still awaiting confirmation from the Premier. I thought, gentlemen, that having had the front seat in this argument he is putting forward to Nevis, that he'll be glad to say it is signed. That he believes in what this document is proposing. He believes that this is the beacon on the hill for the development of Nevis. And if I was in his position, minus all of the pushback, if I believed that this was absolutely the best thing since sliced bread, I'll sign it in public, right on the steps of the Charleston High Court. See me here. I've done it.
But the way that this thing started out, we know that the Premier came out at the outset when the news broke and he was confronted directly. He lied. He hid the truth. We have since heard Johnson, who is the principal developer, said that he did not want anybody to know. He said that the real estate agent, who is Mrs. Sharon Brantley, did not know what he was doing, what he wanted the land for. He said that the Premier did not know what he wanted the land for. So the principal operator or owner lied, and he was out to deceive the people of Nevis. The Premier, who we elect to represent us, he turned around and he joined Johnson in lying to us rather than representing us. And we are saying now that going forward, he again has gone behind our backs and deceived us and signing off on this legislation to do with SSC. Again behind our backs without confronting us. It is absolutely total disrespect and disregard for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Mind you, I caution, I have no proof as yet. All right? This thing just happened. So I have yet to get my hands on the hard evidence to present to you. But rest assured, once it exists, I will find it. You know me already. All right. So that is the update on the SSZ or the Destiny, whichever you want to put it. We're going to move forward, but let me first welcome in studio Henry Daniel. He was at the same funeral that we were in. He just took off his jacket. He ain't shared nothing else.
No, you know, Kel, you know, that was a funeral you had to attend. He's a Coxman. And you know, the three things that...
Oh, yeah, Lord, I must know.
The three things that define Cox, he epitomized those. He was
what,
Methodist.
What were the three things again?
He's Methodist.
Uh-huh.
He was married for 52 years.
Uh-huh.
And of course, he was NRP.
Oh, okay.
So he embodied the three elements from Cox.
So unless you're married for 52 years.
No.
You gotta be married.
But I'm the
married.
Yeah,
stay married.
Yeah.
And stay married.
Okay.
That, you see you're a very bright fellow. You have already added another component. So if you're married this year, you divorce. Next year, you don't qualify.
You don't qualify. you have to stay married. You have to stay married until you...
Just to say, I heard of the death of Phyllis Grant at Craddock Road. I knew her well.
I mean, Lizzie in
yeah. I taught 6 of her children at Charlestown Secondary.
Wow. Thanks.
And then my great friend Lizzie at Brownhill, 96 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would normally go see her and from time to time and so on. Strong enough to support her too. And so, Kel, you know what we have to do? we have to go manufacture some new supporters. Cause these
These
supporters
are the
here,
hardcore boys.
these supporters here are what my good friend Cannon would tell me. People like Mr. Pinney. There's a pillars, not caterpillars. Caterpillars go all over the place. And these-
Steady.
Steady. So may God bless them and so on. And we are happy. We are grateful for their contribution to the society. It's the little people that matter, not the people that make noise all the time.
All right. Well, we have to now pay respects to our sponsors. Listen to this. Pico is back on top.
Oh, he was at the funeral today.
Yeah.
Pico,
Is
the
that
way
PD?
to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Pinney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
Pico, the way to go. And he in line. I mean, I've had,
First class electric.
I mean, this guy is just in a class by himself. In a class by himself, I'm telling you.
But you know, Kelly was in the Virgin Islands and he made a huge mark in the Virgin Islands as well.
Yeah, he did. He's doing a lot of work and good work, clean work. All right.
Just before you go daily, let me ask us a question. I want to say us, people of St. Kitts and Nevis. In light of what we just exposed about this SSC, the question left to us now to ask us as an individual, what am I going to do?
Well, you can't do anything unless you have proof.
Wait, whether it is signed or it does not sign. The Premier indicated, like I said, that he will not relent in having this project upon us. What are we going to do as a people?
Well, I'm going to answer you in one word.
Okay.
Quote.
Quote. Okay.
This is all we're waiting for, and he knows it.
Of course.
He knows that once he signs that document, it now become admissible as part of the evidence. He knows that. And so perhaps that explains why he's being so secretive and so private about when and if he has already signed the document, because that's all the lawyers are waiting for. That's all they're waiting for. All right? So I was in a conversation, so this next piece here has to do with housing and land. I was in a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and he prompted me to do some research. Took me a while, but I got around to it. And the complaint of this man was, listen, I bought land from Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation almost 20 years ago, and I've yet to get my title.
What?
I've yet to get my title. And that intrigued me. Because if you've paid for the land, why is it you cannot get your COT? Why can't you go and register your MOT? To show that you can now go to the bank with it and get the financing to build your business or build your home. You realize 20 plus years since Pinney's became probably one of the largest development zones in Nevis, it's been very scant in terms of development. If you drive through the by roads of Pinney's, you realize only one houses are going up. One businesses are going up. And the reason is a lot of those people who have plots do not have the title. And I'll explain to you why. But let me go back a little bit. The Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation is a statutory body, incorporated in 1984. And it was designed to be able to create housing, to buy up lands, to hold land in stock for Nevisians into perpetuity. When I looked at the estimates for 2025, on the books, the corporation is deeply in debt. Deeply in debt. They owe Social Security alone $31.8 million. They owe a company out of Trinidad called UT $4.6 million.
Or unit trust.
Unit trust.
How much million?
4.6. That's the balance. In 2004, thereabouts, 2005, the CCM government under Vance Emery borrowed 10 million US dollars, or that's about 27 million EC dollars, from unit trusts in Trinidad to purchase pennies. And the agreement was, as we sell the plots, part of that money will go to pay back the debt that they owe unit trust. And somewhere between 2005 and 2006, before NRP came into power, that agreement fell apart. Payments stopped coming. The money was being collected for the lot sold, but the money was not transferred to unit trust. So unit trust held on to the titles. They are the mortgager. So they held on to the titles because the agreement was, as you sell the plots, you pay me. Beautiful arrangement. I thought it was a brilliant arrangement. You pay me as you sell a plot. They didn't do that. So here comes NRP in 2006. People are banging on the door. The manager then was Eustace Nisbet. The minister was Roberto Hector, my minister. And people were complaining bitterly, listen, what is happening to my title? I've paid. How come I can't get my title to build my house? And when these guys investigated, they realized these guys weren't paying. The CCM was not paying. Hector, Patrice, and Smarty had to fly to Trinidad to meet at Unit Trust and say, listen, this is the new government. Let us reset. Let us reset. Let us go back to the old arrangement. As land is sold, we will pay you. And not only will pay you, we'll pay up the balance that from those lands have been sold before. And they did. So that thing continued. People got their titles as land was sold. In no time at all, of course, the lands were sold out. But Unit Trust did not get the money. So Unit Trust decided, listen, you know what? I hold on to all of the mortgages until every cent is paid. So we're going backwards. Until you pay me all that you owe me, no more mortgages coming out in here. And that is the heart of the problem, caused by this government on the people of Nevis. They've been paying hawks and herons from since 2012 to now. And they still can't pay down the people their money for the mortgages to be released, for the titles to be released. So when you drive your pennies and you see empty lots, they have owners, but the owners cannot get the mortgage, get the COTs. Because Unit Trust in Trinidad, they're saying, listen, you screw up once, we came back to the middle, we agreed. You screw up a second time, we want your money. We want your money.
So they didn't follow up after we left government?
No, they broke the agreement once NRP demitted office in 2013.
They went back to the bad ways.
They went back to the bad ways. And now people can't get the money, can't get the titles to their land. This is the problem we are facing.
Well, I think the corporation went wrong, because one of the things that my mind remind me that they establish a different body within the corporation, bringing a different manager within there to sell the lands. So you have a corporation who was dealing with that, and rather than maintain it within the corporation, and whoever they brought in to sell those lands, they wasn't working for 10 cents. Okay? And so then you had that problem. And then secondarily, the corporation has been losing money every year because how many years now they're paying rent, and then they're paying 2 cents for rent, and so therefore they have to pay. Well, and they're going to pay who the rent from.
The rent, of course, we all know who they're renting from, and we know the reasons why. Right? They have you're building homes, but you ain't got a home for yourself. We all know that. But the thing is, what's really bothering me is that I've heard Branty more than one occasion say this is all NRP fault. That NRP should have paid off. My goodness, my brother, you received $500 million from St. Kitts. $500 million. Didn't you think that this would have been a good thing to do, to pay off those mortgages, clear off that so people can get the titles and start build and get their lives going? You paid the lawyers for Rams in the situation with Restream. You paid the lawyers for Rams $22.5 million in one go. In one go. Restream is still down there, still undeveloped, still falling apart. But you paid the lawyers for Rams $22.5 million to clear off that. Left the Nisbets who own the property hanging, and you could not pay off unit trust in Trinidad,
but
so people can get the titles to the lands.
Tell two things.
But it's bad mind,
of course. But and it's a level of worthlessness. First thing, remember in 1992, the NRP floated some bonds to buy pennies, buy a bulldozer for $8 million. The CCM riled against it, said, no. Even when CCM came to power, Van said he don't want no pennies. So here it is. He came back full circle. Mind you, 8 million EC dollars were floating bonds to buy the pennies. He said, no, I don't want no pennies. Then years after, he buys it for 10 million US dollars, can't pay. And then you are unable, they set up PICO, Pennies Investment Company, inside the corporation to deal exclusively with the lands at Pennies. So now you have a situation, Kel. I think when he said that we should have paid, when we went to government, it was the financial crisis.
But not only that, there were a lot of outstanding bills,
which we had to pay.
Millions owing to Social Security.
And,
the
one for the airport, Kel, we had to send, you talk about Hector, Patrice, and you just went to Trinidad. We had to send Carlisle to Florida immediately to pay up the money for the air shallower who was suing the government and taking us to court in Florida.
For Gupadeka?
Well, Gupadeka was the company, but air shallower was the company that took up all of the manuals for the air conditioning and thing at the airport. So you notice since the airport was built, the air conditioning thing is now working. So we had to send Carlisle to Miami quick to keep the name of Nevis out of
the court.
And then we had to take up a set of money and pay American Airlines to bring people to make up for the shortfall for passengers from Puerto Rico to Nevis. So, I mean, how much more were we supposed to do?
And not only that, you remember that we had to cover the bill for Anguilla, for the dialysis treatment.
Of course.
I mean, you see,
114,000.
when these guys talk sometimes, right?
I mean, they think we're stupid.
The history will not remember them kindly because they have really cost the Nevisian public serious headaches. All right? But
I think, Daly, one of the things that perhaps we miss is that we have not really put the history of the CCM people out into the public. We need to remind them. We need to remind them over and over, because somehow the Premier has been able to convince a segment, whether it's a small segment or a quarter segment of the people, that somehow that NRP has failed Nevis.
I am not even going on the road there. I want to read something for you.
That is baloney, as we would say.
I want to read something for you. And this is a part of the objective of Nevis Housing on Land. All right, part of their, what they call themselves there, what they call this speech, their motto. All right, the mission statement. That's what I'm looking for. This is part of it. This is what they say. Listen to it. And I quote: "Imagine owning your own land on which you can build a house to suit your taste, or purchasing a house on a lot which is quite affordable. Congratulations, you have made the best choice and you have come to the right place. Make your dream a reality." Now, the reason I'm reading this into the record is because this next story I want to share with you is totally contradictory to what they are saying their motto is, the objective is. All right? Do you know, gentlemen, that the NHLDC, the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, no longer, under any circumstance, will build a house on land that you own?
No.
They have stopped.
Stopped. Because they can't get it.
Stopped.
Why?
So on the NRP,
Well, we did a lot of that.
you could have go to the corporation and said, "Listen, I have a piece of land, but because of my credit worthiness and etc., and given the prerogative of the Housing and Land Development Corp,
Scope, the wide scope.
I want you guys to use your resources, your what you call economy of scale, and build a house for me and my children." They have stopped, completely stopped.
In addition, Kel, I usually have the letters with me, but I left them in my car, in another folder. The same Land and Housing Corporation, I think when we were in government, we allowed about 50 people, maybe less, just about that, to pay their money for the houses through the corporation. Understanding, just to underscore the point you just made, that the circumstances mean that they couldn't demonstrate real demand in a bank. So we say, all right, these are people, single parents, children, the whole work, that's, people with low incomes. And the letters were written just after we left government, written to them to say, hey, go buy a bank. So 6 years before, you're paying your money, Kel, through the bank. And it's already tight in relation to your total income. You take out the amount for mortgage, and now you get a letter from the corporation say, look, go to the private market. So the corporation has gone against the same ideals you just read there, Ken, has gone totally opposite, functioning totally opposite to its mission.
Well, the thing is, the corporation now has so much debt. They got $36 million of debt right now as we speak, as of 2025. $36 million. They already collected all they can collect for all the lands they've sold, all the buildings they've sold.
So what they did with it?
What did they do with the money?
What they did with the money?
And that's the question that needs to be
answered.
answered.
Forensic auditor need to go find where this money is.
If you borrowed $10 million, which was a custom to borrow from Social Security,
oh yeah, and pay back.
by the time the lots are sold,
you're good to go.
You're good to go.
So what happened?
So how come you're so far back? How can you be selling a quantity like land and houses and still owe $36 million? Well, when you ain't get off under that?
And you didn't have to buy the land to sell again?
You didn't have to buy it?
No. So you can't even say you had to pay. You had to pay for pay down the owner, and then you put on a little interest. No. The lands were vested in the corporation since 1984. And it has helped hundreds of people to secure land. So the underlying issue is that the people managing, they have failed the corporation.
And failed miserably. Because I go back again to the 3.5% for the Nevis, for the Housing and Social Services levy. I go back to that because it is critical to every argument we make for affordable homes on Nevis. And people must know what they're paying for. When you look at your pay stub and you see a 3.5% interest, withholding, 3.5% of your salary.
The $3.50 every month.
So if you're making $1,000 a month, right? 3.5% of that is $35 every month coming out of your salary. For 12 years, for 12 months, that's $400 every month, every year, money coming out. And that money collectively is supposed to help finance affordable homes for the people of Nevis. That was the intent. That was the intent, but the money goes into the dark hole of the treasury, called the Consolidated Fund, collected by Social Security, paid to the government, and the government puts it in their treasury. And the money disappears in the treasury to pay the salaries of advisors like Zook and Toya and Porkins. $123,000 a year. This is where your 3.5% is going. To pay people to cut down trees that don't need cutting. To do all kinds of things with at the discretion of the Premier. To waste money on some film commission and film commissioner. Hemorrhaging money, $1 million a year allocated to his film industry. No value for money. We are making money sufficient to run this country better.
Of course.
But when you have 30% off the top, lost to corruption, and this is not my figure, these are IMF figures, World Bank figures, 30%, 30 cents of every dollar is lost to corruption. And then you have your interest payments, $3 million a month. And then your principal payments to make. And you have all kind of payments to make. Then there's little left to go into the avenue for which this 3.5% was created for. Social services, affordable homes. This is what your government, this government, is doing to us.
But you know something, Kel, when you look at the housing and social services levy, it's the same very people who I was speaking about with the paying through the corporation. That levy,
Of course, helped.
help them.
Of course.
And so so what the people need to conclude is this: here was NRP with a project and procedure and organized efforts to ensure that you get your home and that you could manage, okay? And here comes CCA, takes away everything, and now it's mired in debt. $37 million.
$36 million.
Imagine you're selling land that you get for free. So, Kel, let's make this practical. I give you 2 free houses. I give you 2 free houses and you sell them and you go. 2 free houses. To give you 3 Toyota cars to sell. I give you and you sell them and you broke. Tell me what
Let's
you
go to the
broke.
call.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Gentlemen. Yeah, I'm excellent. Sorry, help me here a little bit. You said 30% corruption?
That's what IMF said.
IMF said that, okay. And our annual budget is how much?
Well, for this year, it was 279 or something like that million.
So almost 300 million
Almost 300.
in 1 year, right?
Yeah.
So
Just 90.
30% of that
It's 90 million.
90 million.
is 90 million.
Yeah.
So if there's 90 million in corruption, how many people are here between?
I don't know.
9.
May ain't get none.
9.
As many as 10?
Maybe at 9. I believe 9. 9 are thereabouts.
So that means each of them getting 10 million a year?
Well, easily.
Your figures.
Your figures.
Wait. 10 million a year?
Well, I'm not certain they get it all for themselves. They spread it around. But if we are to go with the IMF figure of 30%, it's a lot of money. that's being wasted annually.
Well, I think you need to put the monetary value on it, not the percentage.
Okay. All right, I got a point
Because,
there.
because the monetary value, I was just, I'm going to have to pick myself up off the ground. That knocked me out.
That is big.
Wowzers.
That is big.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I suppose what the caller is alluding to, Kelly, is the opportunity cost of the money. What's the next best thing that could be done with $90 million? What's the next best thing can be done with money?
I can think of a million things to do with $90 million.
The opportunity cost of the capital. You, instead of taking money, fix your schools, fix your health care, fix X. $90 million can make a big difference in the
But you see, when you place yourself or present yourself and are trusted to do something, but the truth is that you are not interested in doing what you say the people are going to do. You want them to give you the okay, and so that you can do what benefits yourself. And it's absolutely clear that from the time our premier entered into politics, he has done nothing to benefit Nevis, but he has made off handsomely. And when you look at this again, the level of corruption that is under the premier's administration have not been seen nowhere in St. Nevis and Anguilla previously to him.
I want to get back to this issue of housing, because one of the greatest issues Nevisians have right now is proper housing, adequate housing for families. There's a dire need for housing. People are no longer content to live in a back room of their mother's house or their father's house, or build in the mother yard and cause confusion. People are looking outward to get their own. God bless a child who has his own. All right? Not any of us, a lot of us cannot approach a bank because of our income it doesn't meet the threshold for comfortable living. All right? If you have a mother or a family with 3 kids or 2 kids living in a 1-bedroom house, you're not really solving too much of a problem. We're not saying that they must have mansions. But if you are going to build a community, I want to say build a community. I'm not just talking about buildings. I'm talking about the worth being in a community, the interactions, the personal interactions, the growth, the empowerment. That's what I mean by community. If you're going to do that, you cannot afford to have this huge disparity between the rich and the poor. The poor must be able to move up. Must be able to move. If you keep them down there suppressed, you're not solving. You're not building communities.
But you are maintaining your position, and that is what you intend to do.
Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon again, Dr. Daly. Sorry, I'm going back to this 30% business of corruption. So, 90 million in 1 year, right? That's if the IMF is correct. Right? There's no reason why I should not believe the IMF. A government term is 5 years, right? 5 times 90 is 450 million. You realize that would have done geothermal and the airport without borrowing a cent? Do people understand what corruption does to a country? We would not have to borrow, we would not have to give geothermal to St. Kitts. We would have the airport, we would have geothermal with cheap electricity, all kind of industries coming in to use cheap electricity. Lord. Who cares about Nevis?
Not these guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
The thing, Kelly, is that I think also Mr. Weeks here says we must remind people we are part of the process. the NRP built 375 houses in 6 years. And you were just making the point about community. You look at Cherry Garden, and we didn't just put down the houses. There's a playfield, there's the electricity and the water. And you know, we had some meeting with the financial people, and they were saying that the cost of the infrastructure, the roads, electricity and the water were not included in the houses in an effort to ensure that the people could afford, because we were aware that people couldn't afford. I mean, Hector and I had long discussions about, boy, how we could help X, how we could help Y. And you know, some of these people got 10 years interest-free paying at the corporation in an effort to help them. Some people look at their income and so on. And then it is still the case that just about everybody over there can add a room or two if the family is extended. That is what you want to do, because you know what is happening? When you look at the crime and violence and ghetto culture in the Caribbean, housing is a major contributor.
Yeah, because it's dumping grounds.
It's a major contributor.
It's a dumping ground.
Yes.
And what NRP did was a model for other developments across the region. Because if you go to St. Croix, for example,
Jesus wept.
It's like it's like you're downtown South Bronx in back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You're simply building houses that are totally not community based. People are just being warehoused, and so the gang violence, the culture, everything just destroyed those areas. What NRP did was so phenomenal in setting the standard for housing, affordable homes.
Mm-hmm.
When people come from St. Kitts or wherever, they said, these
these
are affordable homes? But you must, you must believe in your people. You must believe
and show it.
All incoming tide raises all boats.
Raise the tide.
You cannot just simply support the rich.
No.
You have to bring the poor up too.
Well, I have spent, we have always been concerned about the whole question of, can you imagine a society like Nevis has homes, and nowhere in this country is far. Imagine you have homes worth $1.5 and $2 million next to homes that are worth a couple $1,000. Shucks. You don't do that. What you do, you lift people. And if you notice, Kel, by our doing that at Cherry Garden, you drive around there, you notice nearly every house is fenced, and some sexy fence, not the jokey fence, and people have taken pride. People have planted trees, fruit trees, flower gardens, and everything, because people sense that the government is giving you an opportunity, and the people responded by putting their thing together. You notice, Kel, if you go, you look at some ghetto, you see people with all the clothes at the line, no way for the children to play, and as a result, you have this congestion. And then, but you were just making the point about keeping a number of politicians like this, because you can control people in those environments.
Keep them poor.
And even more.
But when you look at the housing division of the Tappaquiddick Road that the government put down, no road, no paved road.
Where did it play?
It's a dirt road.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find a dirt road in Cherry Gardens.
No.
You look at Cotton Ground.
Yeah, and just to stick a pin, in Cotton Ground, we bought the lands from private people to be able to provide the housing for people. And that's the first NRP government did it, and we did it the second time, the Sanders family. We bought the land from them to put down housing. So imagine, we buy land to unsell to people, and we didn't go, and we still end up keeping the
price reasonable.
The price
we have to look at the difference. When the system did the housing community in Bath, they gave the people an empty shell. I had persons who I had dealing with who said to me, yes, I was paying the corporation, the bank, $1,000, but then there was no tiling on the floor. There were no cupboards anywhere inside there. So I had to have a second mortgage. So while the government was saying that they were giving out houses at $1,000 for the mortgage. He say, in my case, I was paying over $2,000 because I had to pay for all the tiling to tile the house. I had to pay to put in all the cupboards inside the house. I had to pay to paint inside the house. Me say, what?
But just to say, Kel, when the corporation approached Social Security, we told Social Security that we wanted to provide a complete house for people. And the Social Security was like, but that's not what
Before.
Not like before. We said, no, we're not going to put people in houses without, many of them didn't have the plumbing.
But
the
you
painting.
remember, I remember the,
You know?
the promotion that Smart Yam did and Mr. Parry did. And they said, listen, just bring your bed.
That's all.
Bring your bed. That's all you need to bring. Bring your bed and you move in.
Cupboards were in there, in the bedrooms, and the kitchen cupboards. The house was painted, it was tiled, and look, we recognize there were some challenges. There were some fellas. Remember, Kel, though the housing was done in the heart of the financial crisis, so we had to. It worked both ways. Stimulate the economy with construction, and then there were some builders who needed tighter supervision, but at the same time we had to help them because they were out of work and so on. So in the end, we ended up, as you would say, Kel, is the intent, the government intended to give people a better quality of life, beginning with housing. I remember there was this classic case, Kel, Patrice called me one morning and said, Mr. Daniel, we have a problem. I said, what happening? He said, a fellow said, look, Mr. Nisbet, thank you very much for the housing in St. James. But Mr. Nisbet, I have no work. I have a family with children. So Patrice called me now to make the connection. The work, you have to provide the work.
In order for them to pay the
Mind
mortgage.
you, he has to be housed, and he had another daughter. So we had to go now to find a work to make sure that they can make. But in a case like that, Kelly, you think we could ask them to pay market price? That would be murderous for us to ask him with his children struggling to pay market price. But we reached out. The point in government is to be imaginative, to read plenty, see what other countries are doing, borrow from them, cut and paste, as we say, and make the best for the people. That has not been happening.
Well, we were the best example. I remember there was a conference at Mount Nevis. It might have been discussing geothermal. There were delegates from several of the countries who were around. I was given the responsibility to be the driver for the delegate from Trinidad. So I had to pick him up at his hotel, carry him up to the conference, pick him up from the conference back to the hotel. But I didn't take him back to his hotel. I took him around Nevis, and I was happy to show him all the housing projects. And you know what he said to me? I wish we had something like this in Trinidad. Rich Trinidad with all of its oil. When I took him around, because I decided, no, you just can't come in here and see Nevis. And I had to carry him. And so we were the leaders in this, and now we has gone backward under this Mark Brantley system administration. We have gone so far back.
The problem with the housing now, because they've used some of the similar designs as NRP would have done many years ago, but the cost is double. NRP was selling a 3-bedroom house with your land for under $238,000. A 3-bedroom house. Nicely appointed with your cupboards and your sinks and all stuff like that. Now, the same 3-bedroom house going to run you $500,000.
And fellas, we had a premier who understand these things. So when we met at cabinet and also at other places, he would always be saying, fellas, make sure people have enough space in their house. I don't want anybody cramp up in the houses. Make sure when you get a house and begin to pay, you must feel that you are paying for something of value.
Not just to keep the rain off your head.
No, you must be paying for something.
We got to move on.
Just before we go, Daly, because while all that we have exposed here that the NRP did, Mark Brantley were able to come and sell to the people of Nevis that the NRP was selling the houses too expensive. and that he has agreement with mortgages from banks that is going to reduce. The man gave a whole spreadsheet of how much money you can save on your mortgage if you vote out NRP and put them in. And persons grab at that.
The Sunday before the election.
Grab at that and voted for him. And then when he got into office, he picked the whip and he blazed the behind, and he's been blazing our behinds until this very moment. And we were saying to them that this guy is a deceiver. What he's presenting here, there are no banks that are in any agreement with him. But it worked.
All right. Moving on. We had started in our manifesto, stated in a manifesto, that we intended to do rent to own housing. Rent to own housing. We have stated it quite clearly. To add to the housing stock, we would add this component called rent to own. It's not a new concept.
It's a beautiful concept.
But it gives persons the opportunity to access housing without the severity of having mortgages and all that that they can't afford. So the whole concept was, we'll build these units, persons will sign a lease for 3 years, rent to own, and at the end of 3 years, if you decide to continue, then a portion of that money you paid in rent will go towards the down payment on the unit. And you continue paying as normal. You in your house.
I think about 60-40 or something like that.
All right? And they laughed at us. I remember there was a meeting in New York. The same Zook Jeffers. Oh, they were talking about rent to own. What choppiness they were talking about?
But he doesn't know.
What choppiness they were talking about? Rent to own. Now hear this. The National Housing Corp in Barbados has rent to own.
Of course. It's Jamaica.
The APNU in Guyana has rent to own. The Bahamas has rent to own. Jamaica has rent to own. Nicaragua,
of course,
have rent to own, financed by the Inter-American Bank, Development Bank.
The IADB, yeah.
So, this is nothing that should be laughed at. This is something that could have been implemented to look at how we can best suit satisfy the housing needs of divisions. Because not every division needs a backyard.
No.
We could have gone up or gone out. But
and I remember Hector came with seller in some parts of the east. He says, boy, look, fellas only wanted a one room, you know. Fellas say, look, it's me alone. I want a one bedroom. Give me a kind of studio.
Studio apartment.
Give me a studio. I don't have my children are away. It's only me here. I'm not building no house. They're not coming back. I just want something better. So as you were saying, Kel, there are different variations. And I just made the point. You mentioned all the countries. You think if the government knew that all these countries are going on, when you don't know, what Boldface say in Antigua, the hardest thing in the world is to know. And when you don't know, you just don't know.
Good afternoon, on target.
Yeah, good afternoon to the listening public.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
I hear listening to this discussion. So let me ask this. The passport we were selling in this country, who it belongs to? No, the citizens?
Of course.
So how much money made from selling those passports? No, billions of dollars.
Yes.
So why we here discussing housing when we don't make so much money in this country until we as a people hold the politicians them accountable for the corruption? You can always get this discussion. Good afternoon.
And that's a good point to make, because you've heard me on several occasions criticize the warehousing of people, especially on St. Kitts. I mean, I saw the Stapleton Housing Project. The Minister with Responsibility, Hanley, was walking through with the Prime Minister showing, and I was livid. I was upset. Those places are tiny. The land is tiny. I mean, those are warehousing. You might as well build an apartment complex and stick people in them, because giving persons a yard a yard without a yard I don't see how you can put a man on 3,000 square feet of land and say it's a yard. It's an imitation. And as the caller indicated, we deserve better than this. We have been selling our patrimony since 1983. And the kind of payback we are getting as citizens versus what Sir Marriott's got with the $27 million loan, or what Christopher Harbour got, or what Kitchener Hill got, or what Whitegate got. You know, it is beneath us that our government looks at us different than they look at people who say they're investors. Well, we are investors here too.
Yeah. And
we have invested our blood and sweat into this country. And this government here, all they intend to do is to warehouse it into smaller and smaller plots of land.
It's the contempt for people which is underlining this, okay? The absolute contempt for people and the view that them people over there don't deserve to be at the same level like me. They don't deserve to have a dining room, a nice kitchen, and a bedroom that they can grow up with. Because, as I said to you, there's a conspiracy at the top to regulate the poor people. If you liberate people...
Good afternoon, Target.
Yeah, you know, eat me out, burn me. You think I going to blame the politician them? I can blame us. Mm-hmm. We as a people, because we sit down and we watch the politician with the corruption. And what we do? We sit down by the bar, we go in the park, we go this place and that place, and we put me on our remote and we talk. That's how we do. Until we start to hold them responsible for what they do to us. Because we see what they do to us. And we just sit down and take what they do to us. The more they penalize us, and the more foolish we become. Good afternoon.
I'm happy that he said that, because I was here thinking the very same thing. I'm not going to go back to the Daniel dispensation, but I'm going to just look at the Joseph Parish dispensation. The amount of work that he did in the short term during a time when the world was in an economic crisis. And when you had the CCM would have come around and said to the people of Nevis, NRP doing too much. And people bought into that and vote them out and vote back in CCM, that was an object failure. Who do I blame? Should I blame Vance, Amri and Mark? Or should I blame us? We who were the beneficiaries, because I've known persons who benefit, there's a term some people just use, bigly, hugely from NRP, and vote against NRP, say the NRP doing too much. Okay? I remember, like I said it one time, and every time I think about it, I think about a friend of mine who said to me, boy, if me could meet Mr. Parry now, I'll kick him. I asked him, why? What has he done to you? He said, Mr. Parry did too much. He's trying to make Van Sammy look bad. And you said, leave it? I was so angry, I felt like hitting the person a backhand slap, but they were driving me in a vehicle and the vehicle might have crashed.
I thought you were a Christian, you're not supposed to strike out at people.
Not supposed to strike? Whatever your mind finds to do with it. Nothing I said, I felt. I didn't say I did it. There are times when you feel like doing certain things. And so you find here, we are sending a message and telling, listen, the performance of the NRP is for you the benefit of the people. And then some joker come and tell you, well, people... how we get ourselves tangled and wrapped up in this foolishness?
This classic, Mr. Perry called me one day and said, boy, this thing's serious. Someone who was on a scholarship, financial assistance from the government in Nevis, from us, rang him and said she couldn't wait to come down there to vote against us because we're doing too much. Mind you, she's funded by us. Mm-hmm. She's a university student. She came home, voted against us. Then went to Vance to continue the scholarship when the government last. Vance told her that is Perry program, not mine. So she lost it.
Okay.
I mean, if you are at that level, you understand the level of ignorance you have to be entertaining in your mind to think that way. But I think it goes back to something Kel says. Kel, do you not think that this CCM has gotten many people in Nevis to think Lord, poor me. This is my lot. And I am not deserving of anything else.
What?
And you don't think so? They have.
I think in addition to that, I think they have managed to whip up hatred against NRP for whatever reason.
That is a big reason.
And persons will vote against their best interests just out of hate for NRP. I mean, we went house to house recently and to several non-national homes and tell us, oh, Brantley say I don't like foreigners. I had to remind the person, listen, when did you come here? Oh, 5 years ago. We've been out of power since 2013. What? That can't be true. I said, it's exactly right. We've been out of power from 2013 till now. So how come Brantley tell you that we are against foreigners? We did everything to make them a part of our society and community. And by the time I finished the conversation, I'm certain I got the vote. Because I was able to dispel that nonsense that was being fed to and continue to be fed to the non-nationals.
That's true.
That somehow NRP is anti-immigrant. Anyway, we're moving on because time is really running out on us. All right. Somebody sent me a screenshot of a Brantley morning message. All right. And I wanted to spend some time dissecting it and build a story around it. Because obviously somebody is flailing around, grabbing at straws, trying everything against the wall, hoping something will stick. You know, I've never seen such desperation from one person. Because every day comes up with some nonsense. But this one caught my eye. And so I responded on Facebook, and I think it's worth a discussion. All right, so bear with me. The first part of the morning message reads, and I quote, "Stop wasting time telling the world what I have not done." In other words, we, the division public, are not supposed to hold him accountable for anything. We are not supposed to hold him accountable for anything, good, bad, or indifferent. Stop telling the world what I haven't done. But if you have not delivered geothermal,
What are we supposed to do?
what are we supposed to say?
What are we supposed to say?
If you have not delivered the hospital extension,
What are we supposed to say?
what are we supposed to say?
You have dialysis patients going sin kits. What are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to
What are we
say?
supposed to say? Thank you, sir.
You stop the NRP tertiary education program where you're funding people to university. What are we supposed to say, Ken?
You did not, the world-class athletic stadium you promised is out there, just bare ground, rented stadium seats. What are we supposed to say, Mr. Brantley? Well done, fair, fair and...
Thou good and faithful servant.
What are we supposed to say? Every project you have done, the Treasury was supposed to cost $5 million. The last count, according to the Ministry of Finance, was $8.5 million. The police station over there was supposed to cost $3.5, cost over $6. The pier at Worley was to cost $5, done gone over $7. And so, what are we supposed to say to you?
And don't all of them need additional amenities to make them fully functional?
Of course. You promised to deliver the hospital in 24 months. Since 2017 to now, 20 million plus gone spent. And every advice is telling you started wrong. There was no bid, there was no action, no proper way of doing this. What are we supposed to say to that? So he's telling us in the world what he hasn't done. And then the second part of his post was, we must spend time telling the world what you have done and what you plan to do, meaning us. We must tell the world what we plan to do and what we have done. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, Target.
Afternoon, Dr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Hensley. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to all the listeners. Just to say, and I did not get no chicken on my for the Christmas.
You did
the
not what?
poultry farm. Did not get no chicken on my table on the poultry farm. The Christmas. What do you want me to say? Okay then. All right. Okay.
Valentine.
Then what Mark is doing is saying.
Well, let me finish this too.
Okay.
Before you can, I want to finish this thought.
You
The
got
second part is
You got more?
the second part of his post read, spend time telling the world what you have done and what you plan to do. Spend time telling the world what you have done. Where should I begin? I don't even want to bore the listening
No,
audience.
it's not boring. Remind the population.
I don't even want to even remind, because they should be able to recite it by now.
People know.
People know. And if you don't know, shame on you. I don't want to even speak about the record of Sir Simeon Daniel or Mr. Parry. I don't even want to go there. Right? Because those records stand on their own. They have unrefutable evidence that these guys were kings in administration of this country here. I don't want to remind you of all the things Sir Simeon Daniel did or Mr. Parry did. Suffice to say, if your kid is at sixth form, thank Mr. Daniel.
Bank of Nevis.
If you're bank at Bank of Nevis, thank Mr. Daniel.
Housing Corporation.
If you want to have the housing corporation, thank Mr. Parry.
No, the corporation set up by Sim Daniel.
And Sim Daniel. I thought you meant the Cherry Gardens projects.
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
All right? There's someone to thank these guys for. If you work at Four Seasons, the survival, the presence of Four Seasons Nevis today is the cause of Mr. Parry, the hotel was brought here by Mr. Daniel and saved by Mr. Parry.
Yes.
What was Mark saying when Four Seasons was picking up to go? Mark said, let them go. And Mr. Parry had to send Patrice to Maryland to fight in a U.S. court to bring the case to Nevis and save the Nevis people 4 seasons.
And you know what was the strongest argument, Kel? This hotel here then accounted for 40% of the national revenue in Nevis. So to get it, to allow it to collapse is by extension allowing the economy to collapse.
Let me tell you something, right? I feel so strongly about these two gentlemen that there should be national monuments across the island of Nevis, statues of these gentlemen
And
for the
their
work
team.
they did. Not their team, them.
Them as the leaders.
The two men, side by side,
Okay.
shaking hands. I'm in mind, I'm visualizing these two men and two towering statues because they did so much.
True.
To move Nevis forward. And what we have gotten in the last 14 years has set us backwards.
Kelly, just quickly, you even forget water, which is the biggest issue. One of the biggest issues in Nevis.
Okay, let's go to the phone.
And where we could sort that out.
Good afternoon, on target. Well, it doesn't look like the landline is working properly because it looked like there was looked like a centipede, wasn't it, or something?
I was saying, Kel, the question of water. I am from Cox, and you could tell everywhere. I went as far as market shop for water, and it was a major problem in Nevis prior to the advent of NRP. And so we own that.
Hold your point. Good afternoon, on target.
Happy New Year, Mr. Daly.
Happy New
And
Year.
Daniel and Tulu.
Happy New Year to you.
He ain't do a damn thing for Nevis. All he do is playing political spite. But it's a good thing that this thing got an expired date to it. 5 years in government. It got an expired date. He done it. This is women time. The guy done. You see where the vagabond down here trying to do us? I was listening to the Prime Minister, Mr. Daly, Tulu, and Mr. Daniel. And the Prime Minister is trying to point radio in radio station in an interview that since September with the United original. And this vagabond, this vagabond Joe, Lion Joe, just hold that like easy money in the pocket.
Take
not to report to nobody. Man, the hell went too hot for you. But it's a good thing people coming to their senses. Keep talking, Mr. Daly. Keep helping the vulnerable on the road who ain't understand these things.
All right, brother. Thank you.
You understand? Right.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
All right. Now, the Premier says we should tell the world what we have done and what we plan to do. What we had planned to do was to build a world-class fisheries complex in Charleston.
Oh my.
A $30 million grant from the Japanese. That is what we had planned to do. 2 months from groundbreaking, we lost the elections and NRP killed the Charleston Fisheries Complex.
Not NRP,
CCM, sorry. CCM.
And who were the people involved in the murder?
From the inception of geothermal, this government here has been against geothermal. Even going as far as saying it's going to cause earthquakes, it's going to cause the mountain to blow up. Even going as far as writing to the embassy in Barbados, telling the government of USA not to fund it. They brought in NREI after NRP left office. Take up all the money to pay these people no well that's worth anything. The well has to be condemned. We said we're going to do the Southeast Road, part of our manifesto in 2017. They put it in their manifesto. And lo and behold, we are now told by the Premier that it will cost too much and therefore the developer is going to do it, not us. Let's check this code. Good afternoon, Target.
Yeah, good afternoon again. What we're supposed to be planning to do is to socialize, organize, and mobilize. That is what we should be planning to do. Good afternoon.
All right. We're going to continue the conversation. Look on the other side. Look on the other side of what Mark Brandling's government has done. It is clear as day that the developers, past and present and future, have bought the Premier. They have bought him. Lock, stock, and barrel. Just look at who he supports. Look at where he puts his energy. Into millionaires and billionaires, people who don't need help. The last piece of land at Pennies, down there in the strip at Pennies, gave it away to one of his white friends. Millionaire gave it away when so many locals wanted it to get a chance to move up. And every chance he gets, he goes on there to a video taunting people of Nevis. Oh, this project is coming along beautifully. When have you ever seen him
by a local?
Go by a local business starting up and say, look, a wonderful job. Nope. We all know where he stands. He does not stand with us. He does not stand with us. It's very clear. He doesn't stand with us. You know what small businesses in Nevis are closing up shop because they can't afford to pay the taxes at the port. They can't get no break on the tax, on the VAT and the import duties. They can't get the same courtesy of concessions that these expats are getting. People who can afford to pay are not paying because they're friends with the Premier. So look at who is in his circle. Look at who he supports. It's not me and you. It's not people like look like me and you. Nah. Billionaires and millionaires he's helping out. Last year, the gentleman from up there, Jessups, brought in $40 million worth of art.
free.
40 million US dollars worth of art, and there has been consignments since then. And not 1 cent in taxes. Because his friend, the premier, is going to get a loan from him for $27 million to the Devance Amy International Airport.
How much the
You hear what I'm telling you?
How much the art? Give them a little figure, dear Kel. How much the value?
The art with
Custom
value is
minimum.
$40 million. If customers would apply the rate, customers will collect $47 million.
40 million US. 40 million
And
pounds.
customs will collect $47 million EC dollars from it.
The value, what could be done with $47 million? Yeah?
Let me tell you something. This is who the premier has around him. He's saying the NRP had a chance to do this and had a chance to do that. And so we're just talking now in the wilderness.
But we did.
Let me ask you this. Where's unemployment? Especially among our youth. Up. The debt. Up. The debt payment. Up.
Education.
Inflation. Up.
Education and
Taxes. Up. The cost of living. Up. Foreclosures. Up. You know what ain't up? Farmers' productivity is down. Growth is down. Business confidence is down. Investments down. The credibility of the premier down. You know what's up? Self-pity by the premier. The blaming of the opposition, that's up. So take your choice. Pick what you want to pick and tell me where on the ledger you fall. Are you on the upside or on the downside? Is your cost of living up or down? Are you having any issues with foreclosure? Are the banks calling you and say you better come make a payment? Otherwise we're going to have to put a chicken foot on your house. How many of the kids in your house who graduated in the last 5 years are working?
how many graduate?
And we all know the national debt is going through the roof. We know that you're paying more in taxes now than you have ever paid in your life. Garbage tax, $25. Water rates gone up. Hospital fees gone up. Property taxes gone up. Up in taxes. So what benefit is it? We are being taxed to death by a premier who is disconnected from the people of Nevis and St. Kitts. Productivity by our farmers has to go down because the monkey control program is no longer funded. Imagine you're planting a half-acre of crops or 2 acres of crops and monkeys taking the most of it because the government defunded the monkey control program. This is not makeup, you know. This is fact. So how can you talk about food security and all these things when you have defunded the monkey control program? The biggest threat to farmers out there right now. When you have not even put any concession in place to help farmers with the huge water bills. They're still hooked on to the portable water supply. There's no independent supply for water. But you're saying food security as if by saying it, it's going to happen. We are importing more food now than we ever did in our history. Things we used to send to St. Kitts, we are now buying from St. Kitts. We used to send sweet potato to St. Kitts. We are buying them from St. Kitts. We used to send breadfruit to St. Kitts. My God, we are buying breadfruit from St. Paul's in St. Kitts. And he talking about food security? Let's see who this on the call. Good afternoon, on target.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
What you seem to be forgetting to, Mark Brantley with a part of the Team Unity administration, The 4th of August, 2022, would have made 5 years to be paid off the IMF, Percentage of the 17% that should have been taken off. You have not, until this point in time, heard Mark Brantley come to to back and talk about reducing the 17% VAT, you know. That is what we're crippling us to, you know. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for that. So, this is his record. He go into the parliament, the caller made reference to it. 2 years now in a row. Last year and this year. He goes to the parliament and tell to the prime minister, we need to look at the VAT calculation.
It's bad.
We need to look at the VAT because people are struggling. And that's all he does. No further, just lip service to say he said something about the VAT. You are a parliamentarian. You're the leader of the opposition. You're the premier of Nevis. You said send you to represent us on St. Kitts. And if all you're going to do is get up in parliament and say, listen, the VAT is too high.
So introduce legislation.
So what have you done about it? What are we paying you for? To recognize something that we already know? That the VAT is too high? There's a good friend of mine. I ain't afraid to call his name. Wycliffe Walters. Got a building on the port road over there. Brilliant engineer. Could fix anything. Even your broken heart, he can fix it for you. He's so good. And when he tells me he has had conversation with the premier, just say, listen, just drop the taxes a little bit on us, and we can make this thing happen in years. You know the premier say, I'll get back to you. I will get back to you. Years now, we're still waiting to get back. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. A government that don't give a damn about the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And they're going to come and tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you're going to do. Good afternoon on target. Hello, good afternoon on target.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Gentleman.
Good afternoon.
Real quickly, we need to make the big conglomerates pay their fair share when they come into the country and ease up off the locals at the ports. Time to mobilize, and we got to get it together, man. We got to mobilize. Let me let somebody else come in, man. Thanks a lot.
Cool. I just get upset. And people think my blood pressure is up, but when I get upset, my blood pressure go down. Not up.
You're unique.
I'm very unique. When I get like this, my pressure go down. Because I'm getting that anger out of me. I'm getting that negativity out of me.
But essentially, Kel, here's the government trying to tell people what you're experiencing is not what you're experiencing. So you're unemployed and the government is trying to tell you you're not unemployed. The prices are going up in the supermarket and everywhere, and the government is trying to tell you no, they're not going up. So you have a lived experience where you have to deal with the difficulty of providing for your family housing, electricity, water. All of them are hitting in the upward direction.
All right. Good afternoon.
It's asking you to say no.
Good afternoon. You're on target.
But there is
Yes.
who really community centers.
I'm not hearing you.
Yeah, you say before say what you do and what you go to. But you remember at the same time, not a government, you get me, but they ask, who build the community centers?
Oh well, all of them are built by NRP.
All right, and who bring in the new dialysis machine?
He's sitting right in front of me here. Who brought in dialysis machine?
Oh,
okay.
Thank you very much.
Remember, I'm campaigning here, so make a back Tulu press daily and press Henry can campaign here.
All right.
And so, you said something where people would not see. You have to take out their head. And I'm one of the people there now. Okay then.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So what I'm saying, Kelly, what the government is trying to do, have a discussion to focus on the opposition. 13 years after you're in the government, the opposition must say no.
I think he's looking at advice. But if he wants advice.
But we have given a lot of free advice here. But we have given free here. But remember, we are the people who run things.
But who gave him the idea about the road? Yeah, Southwest Road. Who
But
gave the idea
yeah.
about it for the broiler plant?
Exactly.
Who gave him all that?
Exactly.
You stop giving him ideas, so maybe he's seeking ideas. But the big thing for me, because I saw the thing on your post, and the first thing came to my mind. The premier has acknowledged that he's an object failure. The first thing. Secondly, he said, I know that I failed. Take the focus off of me. Don't focus upon me. Don't focus upon my failure. You tell me what you did and what he's saying. Remind me. You know, the first thing that came to mind when I saw that part? I said, NRP funded your education. You're boasting about you went to Jamaica and you went to school and you came to school the brightest. You were able to do that because NRP funded you all through your school career. It didn't cost you nothing. You got it free. So if there's anything that you give credit, because I've heard that the best thing that a person can do to you is to educate you, whether it's tertiary education or train you in your skills. Okay? He got the best out of NRP. And he has there's nothing else. Put it right there.
Okay, we're gonna do this now. Oh. Good afternoon, Target.
Yeah, lastly for me for the day, between now and when the election is called, you keep highlighting the failures, all the stalled projects. Keep highlighting that as much as you can. And that's it for me for the day, man. You guys have a good one. Thanks.
All right, thank you. All right. Hold on there.
From the failures, you know.
One thing, we want we land. We want we say. Everybody to that we going hold on today.
What?
When you hear Landy lead this solo, Landy's music, to the ears of
square miles, we stand proud. We not give away when we shouting out loud.
We want we land. We want we say. For all the descendants we going hold on today. Come on, Jolo. Down the road. Just once, man. What? Just once. We want we land. We want we say. For our descendants we going hold on today. Leave his people rise up. We not give it way.
Don't sell out Nevis for one family gain. Our ancestors' blood can be spilled
in vain.
We need our land for our children's sake. Hold on strong, we won't make no mistakes.
We want we land. Sing it to them.
We want we say.
Down the road.
For our descendants.
Way. Uh-huh.
To keep out that courage.
Way.
Come to play. Nevis people rise up.
We not give it way.
Pastor cannot say.
Hold on to your land.
One day you will need it.
Keep it in your hand.
For children yet unborn, we must take a stand. Nevis people rise up, protect our blessed land.
We want we land. We want we say. For our descendants we going hold on today.
To keep out the
Courage.
don't come to play.
What?
Nevis people rise up.
We not give it way. Hear the horns. Blow the horns. Uh-huh. Don't turn. Here we go. We want we land. We want we say. For descendants we going hold on today.
To keep out our curry, don't come to play. Nevis people
Rise up, we not give it way.
we want we land.
Whoa.
We want we say. For our descendants,
We going hold on today.
to keep out
The
our
courage.
don't come to play.
Nevis people rise up, we not give it way. Ah. Uh-huh. More day. Ah, la, la. Ah. Whee. Mother. Boy, that thing that just get me going, you know, get my juices flowing. I just feel like going down Charlestown, just walking up, going downtown like Eric, you know. Walking up. Danny said, that's too far. That's too far. I'll take it out. I'll take it back. I ain't afraid to walk with nothing.
We gonna pay our sponsors one time?
You'll understand. Okay. Last thing for the day. This issue with the third-party deportees, the third-party country deportees, third country deportees, sorry, is not going away. The Prime Minister's office would have released another explanation trying to, quiet down the storm of criticism that has come his way. Because, you see, he said something that he ought not have said. Even if he thought it, even if he meant to enforce it, he said something that was so outrageous that people have found umbrage, have taken umbrage with it at different levels. Because when you listen to other leaders in the region who are faced with the same MOU with the US to take third country deportees, none has dared say, not Haitians. Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, he didn't say it. Roosevelt's carrot in Dominica, he didn't say it. Only Dr. Joe has said it. And that has caused a firestorm to erupt. There are persons, of course, who support the idea of no Haitians. For whatever reason, the Prime Minister said in his release, there are national security risk. That the issues of resources, but those don't hold any water. Because unless the Haitians eat more than the others who are coming, or their cost is more than the others who are coming, and unless there are more of security risk than anyone who's coming, then you really can't say what you said in explaining why you did not accept, or you put to the people you would not accept Haitians. And so the heart of the objection to what the Prime Minister says, by excluding Haitians from this argument, is what is crucifying him. It is what causing anxiety. Why would the Prime Minister put us in the spotlight where you now have international press, international coverage, that the people of St. Kitts and Nevis hate Haitians?
Not we.
That is what is out there right now. Haitians in the diaspora are now saying the people of St. Kitts and Nevis do not like Haitians.
But they're Haitians here. I'm living and working among us.
Kel,
let me ask you something. I think you alluded to it last. Isn't this a function of not knowing them and not having had any interaction, relationship, or if you don't know people, you tend to say
no, it's not that. It is not that. There's a perception out there
that they are less than.
That they're less than.
Okay.
That they're gonna multiply.
Yeah.
And involve all sort of smuggling. Listen.
But Christ died for them too.
But
right, Tulu?
Whether Christ died or not for them. That's not my argument. This is a serious argument. All right? You cannot take a position in a region that you're trying to integrate as chairman of CARICOM.
Haiti is a member.
When you are talking across the table to another member, a fellow member, and say, not you, not your people. Persons have tried to make the argument, things are bad enough here. We don't need any more people, including Haitians. But then make it a blanket statement, we ain't taking nobody.
Correct.
because things are bad. But you can't say take some, but not Haitians among the some. I mean, this is the most undiplomatic conversation the Prime Minister perhaps had in his life. The St. Vincent Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister of Gonzales, have now put out a statement saying that around the same time that other countries were approached to sign this MOU with the State Department, that he refused. That he said, no, we don't have the capacity. It's no longer, it's beyond capacity. We cannot deal with the risk, the security risk. And I read the comments being made by St. Vincians. Painfully hurtful statements. Ravka, sit down, hush your mouth. You don't lose. You're not the Prime Minister. Why didn't you say it before? All this nonsense. He just trying to make a name for himself now. You don't lose, go sit down. And I've said, and I repeat again, once we remain divided in the Caribbean, especially CARICOM, we're going to be picked off one by one because there is no unified policy. I hear people saying, well, let us stop the tourism. 48% of all cruise tourism comes to the Caribbean. That's a huge bargaining chip. There are modern facilities from the Bahamas all the way north to all down to Trinidad in the south. Built by the sweat and blood of Caribbean territories to facilitate the cruise tourism so American tourists have somewhere to go. 48% of the US market comes to the Caribbean. We have leverage. We are the back door to American national security interests. We have leverage. But we are weak and we don't stick together. And that's why you can disadvantage easily. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, Target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What do you mean by multiply? You mean getting children and so?
Yeah.
Well, look Dominican Republic people them red skin one. Everywhere you pass, you think they're very big. Them are full of new tongue, because new tongue people are not kill you. And that's a new tongue. That's a Dominican Republic place, you know. Don't wait for your station, you know. And so these two people are all night, you know. I mean, the police come there, police, one man, go 5 o'clock. Police went there, go stop the partner man, used to sell chicken and chilies. We don't whole heap of noise they got. Waking up people. People are because they take us kind of look at, want to know what's going on. How are you got government here today? You got people coming here and not got no land, no rule, no bandit. You know, better time remember people to shut up the room at 9 o'clock. You remember hear that? Them time then? No, we not got no land. Everything gone straight to ground. Chinese was the right, Spanish was the right, everybody was the right down here. They want to do skittition and now, they now talk with them. You understand? And they are always fighting. They got life so good that they are with a party and are with a whole heap of noise in the place. They don't have to get down, they don't have to wait there. Waiting in heart and tongue with back people live. They got a whole heap of noise. And most of them bring them man with them too. No? So they don't want no skittition man. All skittition man who play with them, they play fast. Because they don't outsmart skittition man them straight. You understand? Yeah. They don't want no skittition man. Anyway, we see them man, the Spanish man. So all we got to do is we could send up any one of them because they don't got half and half. You know when people go in there and they want to stay, they get half our one in the country and half from outside. But them like them man, so all we could put out everybody. Then the children come back later. All right.
Right, thank you. I mean, we have invited into our country so many nationalities. Chinese are here. Jamaicans are here. Everybody is here.
Except,
and now we're saying, no, it doesn't sound, it doesn't sound good, man. It doesn't sound good, man. It doesn't sound good. And you need to, rather than trying to deflect and put out explanation, just apologize and move the hell on, man. That's what you gotta do. So listen, I realize the error of my ways. I really misspoke. I didn't mean to come out like that.
You meant it.
I know, but Make it sound good.
That tell me a lie.
You know, so anyway, we got a call coming in. Good afternoon, Target.
Good afternoon, Mr. Daly.
Good
But
afternoon.
you mean it. Don't make him sound so good and look so good. He mean wherever he do, he mean it. He's a willful fellow. But you don't think, Mr. Daly, that we deserve an explanation concerning these people who don't want to bring to the Caribbean?
Well, we need
You
it.
don't supposed to come to me. You sitting on an expired date. We give you a job. Who the hell they think we be? Do as you like? And I work in this country. Let me show you something, you know. An uprising won't come, you know. And the votes to come. And a warning division. Very think very seriously about secession. Because the shine name is plain. They want a unity. They is not the Labour Party want a unity. How the hell you want to take up $27,000 from your indigenous people? And you smaller brother on the other side, got pay for alone. Give me a break. Have a good week.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, so we have Dr. J. He put his foot in his mouth, and I'm not certain how he's gonna get out of it because the damage has been done. I gotta see he's gonna do his batten down and ride out the storm.
I think Gaston called him out, you know, because if my memory serves me right, with the Haitian story, Gaston said that that was not a part because Haiti is a part of CARICOM. And so when you say in the Caribbean community, when you're saying that you're not going, you're accepting everybody else, and you're not taking Haiti, you're going against your own people. But your philosophy is the same philosophy of the guy who is trying to please, which is Donald Trump. Donald Trump has made it clear that he don't want we black people in America. He wants thousands of Europeans, and he tell where he want them come down from. And he's willing to accept Indians, but he's taking the brightest out of India in tech, and they could come. He don't want us. We know that that he frowns on Haitians. We know the last campaign how he's telling that they eating dogs, that they eating your cats, and they eating all of these things. Donald Trump despises them, and Dr. Joe has signaled to me that he despises the people of Haiti.
Well, in his defense, he said that the last shipload of Haitians in Knock Shore, he allowed them to disperse within the Haitian community, and they weren't deported, and I give him credit for that. All right.
So why you don't want them to come? Why you put that blanket statement?
Yes, what did he call? That's what I'm saying. He put his foot in his mouth. Good afternoon, on Target.
Yes. Too long for you. With the earthquake, I think at the 2010 earthquake, the earthquake will affect Haiti. You may recognize how much Americans live there. You nearly got more Americans in Haiti than Haitian in Tulu. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay then.
Right.
Drew allowed those Haitians in the Federation because that was a big thing. That thing went into the court, and I'm not sure what the court ruling was. But people in the Federation in St. Kitts were against the deportation of the Haitian people. There were lawyers who took up the case and was pleading on their behalf. What came out of it, I'm not sure.
But what is poignant and must not be forgotten or not recognized is that we on Nevis and St. Kitts, the commentators, the bloggers, we have taken the government to task for this.
Right.
So they should reflect not on the people of Nevis and St. Kitts, but on the government. Because we are saying this policy is wrong. This attitude the government is wrong. So I hope that person not painting all of us with the same broad brush for this really ridiculous statement by the Prime Minister, supported by the Premier. Because this was a bipartisan endeavor. The Premier has yet to raise his head and say,
he will not.
I will not go along with Dr. Drew on this.
He will not go against Drew.
He will not go against Drew would have conferred with him. But on this matter, let's take this call before you jump in, Dan. Good afternoon, Target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, the hardest thing, it seems, for governments around here is to do what you suggest, apologize and move on, say you made an error, and move on. Instead, what you have is a doubling down on a bad policy, or a bad announcement, or a mistaken announcement, or snafu, or whatever you want to call it. Okay? And so we have this release basically trying to explain why not Haitian. You know, the thing look bad already, sound bad already. Why double down on it?
Yep.
Okay? And to make matters worse, they've just, after the meeting, I think on the 30th, announced that there's supposed to be this high-level committee that the heads appoint to negotiate details with the U.S., right? I don't know if in any one of the MOUs anybody negotiated excluding Haitians, but if they did, at least they had the good sense not to say it. Okay? And now it kind of looks silly, because I think what our Prime Minister was trying to do, as he himself said, trying to seem as if he was being proactive and negotiating with the U.S., when in fact it was obvious that the U.S. approached each country, and they deliberately did it that way so that they can essentially get the best deal from each one. Because you could bet your life they did their homework, and studied each country and each leader, and made a determination of who's weak, who would accept so many, these kinds of things. And we have to wonder what exactly is our embassy people doing up there. I mean, they're not there just to attend parties and that kind of thing. They're also there to gather information, collect intelligence, and so that we don't get hit every day now, it seems, by some 2x4. Okay? And that has not been happening. The OECS should have been united around a common thing. Just belatedly have this committee now. From the time the U.S. approached one, they should have done what Grenada did and stalled for at least a while. It wouldn't take more than 1 or 2 days. And discuss this and say, well, this is what our common position should be. And I think they would have been in a better position to do, as you say, use whatever leverage you have, whether it's the 48% of cruise people who come here, cruise
passengers
business that come here. Whether it is the fact that we are, in fact, on the southern border, whatever leverage to be able to apply. Yes, maybe the U.S. would still do what they want to do. But I think they would have a little more respect, we would have been able to salvage a little more pride and so on from this arrangement. And one other thing, you see how we're now discussing the deportees. Since then, there was this 75 countries who were put on the list of immigration,
no green cards,
new immigration on the new immigration policy regarding migrant visas, migrant visas. Some people seem to take it as well, the greater side of relief, saying that well, at least it does not apply to my visa. Okay, the U.S. visa now, or it's just a pause for migrant visas, those kinds of things. But they have to remember what is being changed in the United States is a mindset, because the immigration officials that you have to go instructed,
Yep.
you gotta be more scrutinizing. You gotta
Yep.
scrutinize more.
Yep.
So regardless to whatever type of visa you're going for, you can bet your life that you're gonna be under more scrutiny.
That's right.
So don't just think it's just a student and it don't affect like student visas or anybody else. And for God's sake, we should stop this thing of throwing barbs across the ocean, right? And stop feeling kind of special that, well, you're not selected for what it is. More restrictions, whereas Antigua and Dominica is. That's foolishness.
Yep.
Right? Even the Bahamas, now they're so outraged and angry at the fact that they're right next to the United States, had great relations with them, didn't even have visa requirements and so on, but U.S. still hit them. So we got to come together and relatedly, as it is, and approach this thing as a unified force.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
then.
Thank you. And that's exactly where this thing should have happened, because it's been months in the making. This third country deportees, it's been a long time in the making. Drew is now the chairman. The outgoing chairman was a gentleman from Antigua, Gaston Brown. These things should have been brought for a unified approach from CARICOM, rather than cutting separate deals for each territory. I mean, CARICOM should have made a statement or taken a position on it.
One of the challenges CARICOM faces is that insularity is still part of the mix. So if people go to the meetings and you agree, and then you come back and you deal with your own local.
No, but you have to set up a mechanism whereby you said to them, listen, this is our negotiating team on this matter. You deal with them. You don't come to us in St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Kitts. Don't go to Dominica. You talk to this group. There are special groups within CARICOM that deal with different matters and trade issues and all that. Go talk to them on this. Whatever they say, we abide by.
Trump administration functions in a way that they want it, not how you want it. You meet them on their terms.
Yeah, but as the gentleman said a while ago, at least you'll be able to salvage some level of integrity and honor from this. Let's go. Good afternoon, on target.
Mr. Gurley, you're so right. This is the approach the CARICOM should have taken. Is a set of little boys and the weak. We need to get rid of them. And St. Kitts Nevis got to start it. Get rid of Charles Joe and Mark Bradley. Get the hell out of them. Get rid of them. We have to get rid of them. Have a good afternoon.
All right. Okay, that's our last call for today. It's now 20 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, or just about. And I think we have covered all we need to cover for today. I really wanted to dig into the discussion about secession, but we'll save that for next week. So come prepared with your pen and paper, with your ideas, with your suggestions, with your comments, whether good, bad, or indifferent, for or against. We are going to blow up this issue of secession next week on this program. Hopefully, we will get other news regarding the development agreement that has purportedly been signed by the Premier of Nevis and given to the Prime Minister. Hopefully, we will get more clarification on whether that did happen or it did not happen. And so, until next week, we'll see you then. Be good. If you can't be good, be careful. See ya.
I'm done with that. I stop singing about this and that. No more calypso from the maestro. I'm getting old and I'm getting cold. Lucifer ain't gonna get me soul. No more calypso from the maestro. But me fans are asking me, my show make one more entry. You better tell the nation what's happening in the country. Plenty people they calling me, complaining ferociously. They want me to condemn the ruling party. But I hate dispute, I only can sing the truth.
I went through the whole country and made my inquiry. And tonight I'm judge and jury. Another nigga gon' vex with me. Mark Bradley, you and your party, I find you guilty. Boy, you're killing this economy. You put the whole country on life support. I find you guilty. Just like you did with the airport. You're guilty, you're guilty. Cast overrun at the hospital wing. I find you guilty. With no sign of the job completed. You're guilty, you're guilty. Use your thermal as your campaign tool. I find you guilty. Mark, you take poor people for fool. You're guilty, you're guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. How do you plead? Guilty, guilty, guilty. This lack of development, I'm giving you a rough sentence. Get your mass out the government. That's your punishment. I say, are you mass out the government? Amen. Why, yeah, yeah. I tell them plain, not me again. I ain't singing no more in vain. No more calypso from me, my show. Leave me out of your politics. I don't want to be in the mix. No more calypso from me, my show. But when I look around and see the failure in my country, I had to hit the stage again with some social commentary. Poverty increasing daily, can't pay electricity. Business closed down on every corner, but there is still hope for the future. And that is the truth. I only can sing the truth. With no kind of development, I have to condemn the government. I find a judge and jury